AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
In a so-called free state, officials and stakeholders concoct solutions to problems often created by other bureaucrats and with little regard for infringements on the people. These stories are born at the apex of freedom and entrepreneurship. We foolishly advocate for the taxpayer. Brian's Beat presents Freedom Fools.
Hour 3 of Freedom Fools on WBSM. You know, I'm thinking about this whole thing dealing with ICE and the ICE Tea Party. Just leaving it at that. You know, we can debate the whole thing dealing with SNAP at another time. But in my book, there is no ifs, ands, or buts about the fact that ICE has acted out of bounds, whether allowed to by the Trump administration or not. There's, you know, when you're pulling people out of cars, whether you think it's okay or not, the government knows better. The prosecutors know better. And in the majority of these cases, when they've had a chance to get into court, look what's happened. The majority of these cases. And as our guest, Rebecca Winter, brought up, same thing that I brought to your attention earlier in the week, where we had Kristi Noem, the director or whatever, secretary of Homeland Security, not realizing that a U.S. Army veteran had been deported. And others, there were more. That was brought up by Seth Magaziner, Congressman Magaziner from Rhode Island. There was also a case where another veteran, and I think this veteran was from the Gulf War. I got to be more specific. The war, Afghanistan and Iraq, so I guess the 2000s war, where that person's wife, who had come to the United States legally, and apparently because she wrote a couple of bad checks, not saying it's not a crime, but she got deported, and I think back to Ireland, because she wrote bad checks. And her husband is a Army veteran. Are we getting to the point here in the United States where we're considering big criminal illegals, or even big criminals that aren't here illegally, deportable because she wrote a couple of bad checks? The only blemishes on her record, wrote a couple of bad checks. The other guy, the Army veteran, going back to the Panama War, who took a couple of bullets, in his particular case, PTSD, and he self-medicated. And, you know, caused problems doing that. But he is a green card holder. And he got deported. And whether or not Kristi Noem knew, somebody in the chain of command should have made sure that she did know what was going on. So now she has to sit there in front of Congress and the cameras and state that she's going to look into these cases. Her underlings should have looked into it long ago and said, no, these aren't the people we want to deport. but it didn't happen that way. Look, the guy that wants to win the Nobel Peace Prize, President Trump, he's got 3 dead and 3 wounded service people in an incident over in Syria. Got to ask, what are we protecting in Syria? But be that as it may, President Trump called it an attack by ISIS. Now, and I could be wrong about this. To me, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they pretty much run in the same circle. But didn't we help to install an ISIS Al-Qaeda leader in Syria? Do you want our service personnel over there? I mean, you talk about a hotbed of activity. You've got little smatterings of war going on in the Gaza Strip still. You've got the West Bank at issue, Lebanon, Syria. And we're concentrating our military effort right now, at least at sea, in the Caribbean, not far from Venezuela. And the President of the United States, wants to get the Nobel Peace Prize? I'll entertain your thoughts on that, especially what's going on in Syria, and now we have 3 dead. And if you think it's okay to keep our service personnel over there, I'd love to hear you explain that to the families, I guess, of the deceased. The quote of the day: power concedes nothing without a demand. Power concedes nothing without a demand. All right, 508-996-0500 is how you get onto the program today. Something I brought up last night, and I really haven't heard a follow-up to it. It's funny, Barry was actually over here a couple of hours ago, an hour or so before my show, and we were talking, and I mentioned to him about the seagulls that were mowed over by somebody driving an SUV up in Tewksbury. And he had that look on his face. And, we both sat there and we said, look, it's not like we've never thought about doing something like that, but we've never done anything like that. Then Barry starts to tell me, every time I park my car, seagulls always seem to find my car, and they dive bomb and they drop turds all over his car. And he looks around, he doesn't see turds on any of the other cars. And I said, well, what do you expect? No, but seriously, I don't know anybody that speaks well of seagulls. Do you? But most of us have never gotten to the point of wanting to drive directly into a group of seagulls and kill them. This is what happened on Thursday up in Tewksbury, where a guy driving an SUV, afternoon, to the best of my knowledge, because I wasn't there, it wasn't one of those things where it was nighttime and he couldn't see them. It was in the afternoon. And he just drove right into them and he killed 6 of them. And I've been getting all kinds of responses on my Facebook. I put that story up there. It's unbelievable. And most of the people telling their stories about I don't have too many great stories to tell about a seagull. And sometimes they can be downright scary. Who wants to be with them or near them when they're dive bombing toward you, going toward your food or a little kid's food, that little kid sitting right next to you? It's not a good sight. It's worse when they're just flying, minding their own business and on your coat, your hat. You're lucky if it's on your vehicle and you're not at the vehicle or you're inside. But that's the other thing. But what kind of person, what kind of human being, what kind of person from the United States of America deliberately drives his or her vehicle into a flock of seagulls? I know I'm making fun of the group. With an intent to kill. I don't get it sometimes. Have we lost the moral? That person certainly lost his moral compass. But is this anything that, in your mind, we should worry about? Do you think that there are going to be others? One person did it, well, now I can do it? It's okay. It's seagulls. And quite frankly, there is a mentality out there. It's just a seagull. There was a time in the United States when it was just black people. Just Mexicans. The mentality that I presently see is, they're just illegals. So I'm might be clumping, but I do see this. I don't know the motorist in this particular case. I don't know whether to call it road rage. That's why I'm asking you. What the heck is going on? Why does a person, I get mad when seagulls poop on my windshield or even on my jacket or my hat. And I contemplate what I should do about it. But just like you don't attack a little kid, you're going to go after seagulls? And maybe a bigger point might be, do you really care if it is seagulls? They're only birds, and they're birds that most people just don't like. 508-996-0500. Hello.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Yeah. Thank you for having Jose on.
Oh, yeah. You actually made that request about a week ago, a little over a week ago. So thank you for the request.
It's still a little confusing, but
Very.
all things to do with money. For me, it's a little confusing, but for him, it comes like nothing. He's so good at it.
Well, yeah, when it's your profession, we hope that you are good at it, and he certainly is. You're right.
Yeah, you got to like it. You got to like working with numbers.
Yeah, I don't mind working with some basic numbers, but to get deep down like he does, not for me.
So anyway, talking about the birds, I love them.
Seagulls?
All of them.
Really?
God put them here, and I love almost everything that God put here. I even don't mind looking at snakes, but I wouldn't want one on me. And spiders, I don't mind them too much.
Really?
Yeah.
You're the first woman that I've ever heard say that she's okay with spiders, or you don't mind them.
What I really don't like, I'll be honest with you, the only thing I can't stand is rats and mice.
Why? What are they going to do to you?
Oh,
Besides bite you?
I scream. I can't.
Your radio's killing me.
I shut it.
I hear it.
Shut it. No, I shut it.
Okay, now I don't hear it. Okay, thank you.
But anyway, I can't stand rats and mice. Oh, the tail.
But seagulls are okay.
They're so dirty. They're scroungers. Ugh.
Well, so are seagulls.
Well, I know a lot of men say they're like a rat on the water.
I heard flying rat.
Yeah, but I think they're cute. They're pretty. I
really?
sit near the beach. Yeah. I don't mind them at all.
Do they ever go after your French fries?
I know they're sneaky. No, they never did anything to me, but I hear people say that they do go into their food. They went into the water and they came back in this. They went in there and ate their sandwich.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Seagulls have a way of doing that.
Yeah, Brian, but I was looking at the extinction of animals on YouTube, on 60 Minutes it was on. And, oh, boy, it really upsets you because the whale, the pandas, the gorillas, these kind of monkeys, I forgot the name of them. Oh, they're so cute and they're so smart. It was a nice documentary on it. I'd like to watch it over again. And it's talking about how poaching and different things. Oh, tortoises. Oh, they were beautiful. There's like a golden tortoise. What the Chinese pay for $60,000 for a turtle or a tortoise. I don't know what the difference is between the two of them. And to eat something, and then they sell for big, big money, and they drill a hole, the guy said, just to suck the liver out to eat it, of the turtle. Chinese do that.
As an aphrodisiac or something like that?
I don't know, but I had a turtle once, and I cried when he died.
Have you ever seen, there's a video, I could do a show on YouTube videos, but there's a place in India where people go to eat, and one of the delicacies, which apparently is also an aphrodisiac, is monkey brain. And they actually have to kill the monkey in order to, they kill the monkey by taking a mallet on the head, and then the people at the restaurant take the monkey back, take the brain out, and the folks sit there and eat it.
Oh, I don't care for that, but I don't even eat. I wouldn't eat that. They call it, what do they call it in America? Sturgeon?
The fish?
No, the brain, the eggs or something. I don't know. There's a name for it, too, in America, but I wouldn't eat any of that stuff. I had escargot once, and that was it. It tasted good, but the thought of a slimy snail. Did you ever have it?
No.
Yeah, and there's another thing that's the fish eggs. What are they? Oh, it's just salty.
Caviar?
Yeah, I don't care for any of that either.
Yeah. I'm not a caviar type person.
Yeah, that's a facade. They think that's a big deal.
People love it for whatever reason.
Well, I love the animals. I don't like to see them being touched. They're just
Are you a vegetarian?
No, I don't eat much meat anyways. I like fish.
Well, you don't like that animal then. Or you like to eat it.
Once in a while I have beef or I'll have a hamburger, but I love animals better. They to let them stay alive. They have personalities. They really do. Even I have 3 little betta fish, and I'll tell you, they know my voice. They know when I'm going to feed them.
Yeah, they see you walking over by the tank. They're saying, yeah, we're going to eat.
Yeah, but not. I don't have them in tanks. I have them in 3 separate pretty bowls.
So let me ask you, since you brought that up and you think that they're pretty intelligent, I'm wondering about the seagull. I brought this up last night. Do you think that these seagulls are smart enough to know that this motorist who deliberately killed 6 of its friends, are they smart enough to, if they could smell the scent of their friends on somebody else's car, that they might somehow seek revenge on that car or the person?
No, but they know certain things. Like, for instance, one fish is older than the other ones, but I said today he was like lackadaisy, and I said, come on, Blue. I give him names, and I said, what's the matter with you? Come up here and eat. Right away, he ran up to the top, and he started to eat some food that I put there, but they know what you're talking about. People think that they're stupid and they're dumb. No animal is dumb.
You're the first person that I've heard even say something like that dealing with fish. I've never known anybody to think that a fish was dumb.
Oh, they think their fish is smart?
I don't know. But they don't necessarily think they're dumb.
No, they're not.
I mean, they do go to school, right?
Everything has feelings, and I don't know that every single animal, you know.
I think they have feelings, yes, without a doubt. They know when it hurts.
I feed the sparrows, and they look for it, and they hide in the hedges. They're so cute.
You don't think that's instinct oriented?
I don't know, but I just love all nature that God put here.
Well, God put me here too, didn't he?
Yeah.
A lot of people believe that. I don't know how true that might be, but yes.
I got to talk to you, Brian.
About?
Off air.
Oh, okay. Well, you know where I am.
Huh?
You know where I am.
Yeah, but I can't call you.
Oh, okay.
How can I talk to you off the air?
You have to call the station.
I just did.
No, you called the studio.
Call what?
You called the studio. You didn't call the station.
Oh, but the station, you're in studio, so you can't do the station. Right?
And I can't anyway right now because I'm actually doing a show right now.
I know, but
if you call when I'm not on the air, but at a time when I'm at the station, then you can talk to me.
Oh, when you're at the station, though.
I'm at the station 6 days, or at least until the beginning or the end of this year.
All right. Are you filling in this week?
Monday.
Okay.
So I'll be here Monday morning.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a nice rest of your weekend.
You too. I appreciate the call. 508-996-0500 to get on to the program today. So I think she's right. Fish have feelings. And I think, and maybe it's just me, but I think many animals have brains. They're smart enough. They're instinctive, obviously, but I think that they have brains. They know if and when they're going to attack someone, how to go about attacking someone. And as I mentioned yesterday, dealing with the seagulls, no matter if you like them or don't, they seem to know how to fly. They passed the flying lessons that were given to them by their parents or mentors. They know how to get out into the ocean and navigate the ocean and get back. Many of the things that the ewes and me's can't do on our own. They know how to get food with just their mouth and a couple of legs. We need two legs to get to a particular destination in order to use our hands to put the food up to our mouth. So look, every creature has its limitations and its extra abilities. And I think that somehow, some way, these seagulls can figure out if they ever get a scent of the driver of that SUV from the other day, they can find that person, find the vehicle. And if they smell the scent of one of their friends, they can, I don't know if acting accordingly is a proper term to use, but they know how to go about it. All right, 508-996-0500. Little reminder that after the ABC news at the top of the hour, after they tell us what they want us to know, Santa Claus is going to listen to you.
Power to the people. Power to the people.
This is WBSM.
You know, most people are not business owners, but just about everybody knows one. The dirty little secret is most owners don't qualify for a bank loan because they lack collateral. At legitimate business funders, owners can get up to $2 million in funding with no collateral, even with a low credit score. And they can get that funding in a couple of days. Find legitimate business funders online at legitimatebusinessfunders.com. Legitimatebusinessfunders.com.
Traveling for business or pleasure? Instead of booking online, first call Low Cost Air at 800-221-6085. With Low Cost Air, booking is your option, which means there's no obligation to purchase anything at all. Call Low Cost Air to compare. 800-221-6085. Low Cost Air, 800-221-6085. Low Cost Air is proud to sponsor Brian's Beat on the radio and online.
There's no better fool than the Freedom Fools. Now, back to Brian.
Thomas Sowell and Justice Clarence Thomas are far better black role models to celebrate than Martin Luther King. Period. End of story.
Yeah, okay, look. Thomas Sowell is one of the best that I know. Clarence Thomas, I appreciate him. But Charlie Kirk, you're no person to tell people one way or the other who should be a black role model. End of story. Hello.
Hey, Brian, what's up?
Just winging.
Just winging. Just a couple of quick things. That guy Jimmy, the old guy that calls, that man is so depressed. His life must be terrible because all he does is call up and whine, and he does this all the time. I mean, it's not even, it sucks. He sucks, really.
Why?
You know
I mean, he's entitled to his opinion.
I know, but it's never nothing happy. It's always in the gutter, this guy.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, he's experienced a whole bunch.
Yeah. Well, anyways.
Respect your elders.
Another thing, that Christy Nome is, I couldn't stand that woman. I don't know if I had told you that before, that when she was the governor there, she let all the motorcycles, this was when COVID was at the height of its thing. She let all them motorcycle people come in there, didn't give a damn about nothing. I mean, this is the way that woman is. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of guys got sick out of that stuff, too. That should have never gone on in them years. They have that big thing with the motorcycles up there.
You know what? I'm not going to blame her for allowing that to happen. That's what they wanted to do.
But she should have had some kind of control. Yeah, but then in that case, them guys, they not enough brains to,
No, come on
really.
now.
Anybody,
they're
anybody
bikers.
else,
Some of them are Hell's Angels, but don't make it sound like they're dummies.
No, I'm not. I didn't mean it like that.
kinda
I mean,
did,
it's
though.
something. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that. That shouldn't have been like
Yeah,
that.
I know
But
a lot of good bikers.
Oh yeah, I do too. And the third thing I got to tell you, Mr. Richards, where he parks his car, that car should not be parked there for 3 hours. That's a 30-minute parking where he parks his car. So if the Seagulls crap on his car or whatever they do, he deserves it because that's what it is.
Well, I don't. That's a good point. But I don't know. I don't know that the Seagulls are hitting the car here as opposed to anywhere else. But you're right about. He's.
You better believe it. I'm right. I know.
I know. I know you see the car, but now you're going to get him in trouble.
Okay.
All right,
Have a good day, man.
You too. Right. I appreciate the call. 508-996-0500. I know he knows because he sees that car there. On a more serious note, sometime within the past 24 hours, there's been military action over in the what I prefer to term be called West Asia. Many people call it the Middle East, Syria, to be more exact. 3 U.S. service members have been injured, 2 others dead, and 1 person who I believe is either a journalist or some other type of an American attached to the unit, also dead. And it brings up the question, why the hell are we there? What is the purpose that we are serving? More to the point, let's get the hell out of there. President Trump called it an ISIS attack, and he might be right. I'm not going to argue whether it is or is not. But I will say this is an area that we should not be in. I don't know who started it, but, what's his, Hegseth, we're going to hunt you down and find you and stuff like that. I would beg the question. First of all, I do not want our military personnel over there. I certainly don't want them shot at, wounded, or killed. But I would wonder what the activity of the U.S. service personnel and the reporter was that set this off. Because if we don't know the full story, then all of a sudden it's ISIS. And again, it very well may be. But I think it's similar to the situation with Venezuela. The government tells us they're bombing boats that are carrying drugs. But we don't know that. We hear that. Then we pick up an oil tanker and decide we're going to keep the oil. Or the president has made that statement. And then there's confusion. Was that oil tanker going to Cuba, or was it earmarked for Iran? Or was it going to go to Cuba and then to Iran? You had a warrant out for this tanker. Who issued the warrant? To be executed in the Caribbean. These are questions that I want answers to. When I brought it up to a former colleague, he said, well, why don't you go to one of those press briefings? And he goes, and if you do go to one of those and you start asking those questions, you'll never be in another press briefing. He might be right, but I think it's our right to know if U.S. service personnel are going to be in harm's way, I think we have a right to know. We, the tax-paying citizen, resident of the United States, we have a right to know. What is our government getting involved with? What are we either defending or offending? We have a right to know that. And I don't care which administration or what administration is in charge. We, the people, have a right to know, and there are boundaries. I keep on hearing talking about the Monroe Doctrine. That was meant and written to alert leaders of other nations that if you come into our hemisphere, that we have a right to retaliate. I don't consider South America a part of our hemisphere. I don't consider land south of the equator a part of our hemisphere. And I think geographically, I'm absolutely correct. Now, does that mean that we don't have interest in that area? Well, we might. But if we have interest in that area from the United States, the northern Western hemisphere, then I can see why other nations might want to go into that southern Western hemisphere and do business, or those nations might want to do business in Asia. Venezuela is a sovereign nation. Now, they may have a leader that overextended his stay, but that's a Venezuela problem. That is not a United States of America problem. And to just have the Defense Department, and I am saying the Defense Department, Department of War, stop a oil tanker, warrant or not, and then make it sound like it's mostly a Coast Guard operation, which it is indeed partly a Coast Guard operation. Something just does not seem correct. Something, I like to do the sniff test, and something just is not smelling right with this whole thing. I thought it was supposed to be about drugs. Well, now I didn't hear one report, and maybe I missed it. Okay, I don't hear everything. I don't see everything. I openly admit that. So there may be a report out there that this oil tanker was also carrying illegal drugs. Okay? I haven't heard it yet. But now we've gone from trying to stop illegal drugs from coming into the United States to having a sovereign nation try to make money for its people. And we have sanctions and have had sanctions against Venezuela for a long time. Is it any wonder that some Venezuelans have left their country, earmarking their way eventually to the United States? Could the sanctions have anything to do with it as much as Maduro being a leader? Don't really hear our government talking about anything that our sanctions against Venezuela might have going on against the Venezuelan people, to the point that they're being, in their mind, forced to leave. I hear a lot about Maduro is letting folks out of prisons and telling them basically go north to the United States. I don't know how much of that is true. I won't argue whether it is or isn't. But I never hear anything about the sanctions forcing people to leave. Venezuela and those people coming up and making their way to the United States. It's almost like, look, we're trying to force people out of there. Why? So we can take over? Let me ask you. Serious question here. Do you think that the United States should orchestrate a regime change in Venezuela? Yes or no? Why or why not? Because that's what seems to be happening. The stories that we don't really hear much about. Maduro has offered to let the United States come in and get oil. You know, he wants his cut. He wants his nation to get its cut. That's sound business. But the United States doesn't want to go down that particular road. Why? Same thing with some of the minerals. He's willing to offer the United States some of the minerals. He wants to also be able to offer minerals to other nations. May I ask, what is wrong with that? To the point that we're trying to make it sound like this guy is a major drug runner. Not saying that he's not a drug runner. But we know it comes from Colombia. And in fact, President Trump stated the other day that Colombia is next. What are we doing? Colombia is next. Now, I'm not advocating for drugs to be shipped from South America into the United States. But the drugs keep coming up anyway. And I don't know that blowing up a few boats is going to stop the flow of drugs into the United States. Certainly not stopping the people from trying. And I can give you a little comparison. We talk about the drug war here in the United States, how whatever type of DEA team, state police, local police, sheriff's department, they make what seems to be a major drug bust. And then they're making another major drug bust. Sometimes they team up with folks from Boston and folks from Providence, making another major drug bust. Well, how many major drug busts before we realize that there's so many drugs here and so many people willing to try to take the chance of bringing the drugs here because the payoff's better? The payoff is better. People are willing to take that chance. Not me, maybe not you, but there are people that are down on their luck. Let's try it like this. So you've got somebody in Venezuela who maybe makes $1 a day. Not much money, but the family is barely existing, but that's what the pay is. And then you get some medium drug kingpin, not the major, but a medium drug kingpin who is willing to offer $1,000 if you make this run from point A to point B. And the person is thinking, well, with this $1,000, I can get out of the hole. I can make sure my family's got food. I can do a whole bunch of things. All I have to do is make it from point A to point B. My boat, and there'll be a whole bunch of other boats. The odds of getting caught, 1, maybe 2 in 10. Put yourself in that person's shoes. The odds of getting caught, 20%. I don't get caught. I make $1,000. Now, $1,000 to you and me, we're not willing to take that chance. But somebody that's making $1 a day, that $1,000 is going to last about 3 years. Now, I'm just using small figures, to help you understand. These people are getting offered $10,000, $20,000, $25,000. And that money really will last several years, taking care of the family. And so it's an opportunity that they feel that they can't refuse. The odds are in their favor. Plus, to the best of their knowledge, they're not running drugs to the United States. And I think our nation knows, our leaders know. And you know how they know? Because the DEA, they know, and they have stated several times that if they're out there in the Caribbean, they're not heading to the United States. And it's the same way here in the United States. People that are down on their luck, they may be trying to maintain a high, a fix. They get into the business because it's better money than they're making at their day job. And it's worth, look, sadly, and my sons can attest to this, we had a next door neighbor in Dartmouth who was making roughly $30,000 a year. Not bad in early 2000 money, not great, $30,000 a year. But apparently he had a cocaine business where he was making about $30,000 a month. And he'd been doing it for several years. He got bagged. He got bagged. But for the longest time, he didn't. And so he got caught. Helicopters overhead, state police out there in front of the house, and eventually he was taken away in handcuffs. $30,000 a month business. That's chump change to the real drug kingpins. And he was expendable. Bottom line is, it didn't take long for whatever syndicate that guy was working with to groom the next person to take over, and maybe that person's been caught and another person jumps right in. This war on drugs is costing us a lot of people, and hopefully, it doesn't cost us any more lives.
You never change things by fighting existing reality. To change something, you must build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete.
WBSM.
Traveling for business or pleasure? Instead of booking online, first call Low Cost Air. Let a real person compare prices and schedules. With Low Cost Air, booking is your option, which means there's no obligation to purchase anything at all. Call Low Cost Air to compare. 800-221-6085. Low Cost Air, 800-221-6085. Low Cost Air is proud to sponsor Brian's Beat on the radio and online.
You know, most people are not business owners, but just about everybody knows one. The dirty little secret is most owners don't qualify for a bank loan because they lack collateral. At Legitimate Business Funders, owners can get up to $2 million in funding with no collateral, even with a low credit score. And they can get that funding in a couple of days. Find Legitimate Business Funders online at legitimatebusinessfunders.com. Legitimatebusinessfunders.com.
O'Reilly.
Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Freedom Pools on WBSM. Here's more with Brian Thomas.
Madam Secretary, how many United States military veterans have you deported? Sir, we have not deported U.S. citizens or military veterans.
Madam Secretary, we are joined on Zoom by a gentleman named Se-Jun Park. He is a United States Army combat veteran who was shot twice while serving our country in Panama in 1989. Like many veterans, he struggled with PTSD and substance abuse after his service. He was arrested in the 1990s for some minor drug offenses, nothing serious. He never hurt anyone besides himself, and he's been clean and sober for 14 years. He is a combat veteran, a Purple Heart recipient. He has sacrificed more for this country than most people ever have. Earlier this year, you deported him to Korea, a country he hasn't lived in since he was 7 years old. Will you join me in thanking Mr. Park for his service to our country?
Sir, I'm grateful for every single person that has served our country and follows our laws.
Can you please tell Mr. Park why you deported him?
Every one of them needs to be enforced.
But you understand that many veterans struggle with PTSD, many veterans struggle with substance abuse challenges. This man took 2 bullets for our country. You have broad authority, by the way, as Secretary, to issue humanitarian parole, to do deferred action. Will you commit to at least looking at Mr. Park's case to see if you can help him find a pathway back to this country that he sacrificed so much for?
I will absolutely look at his case.
Yeah, that was in Congress the other day. Kristi Noem, she didn't know. And be that as it may, here's what's going on. Santa's going to be coming into the studio after ABC tells us what they want us to know. Monday, I am in for Barry, and that will be after Tim and Chris. And we're also going to be on for Brian's Beat Monday evening. 36 at Sonnet, 37 in Buzzards Bay. Adios.
Traveling around from town to town. Sometimes I think I'll settle down. But I know I'd hunger to be free. Roving's the only life for me. A-drifting